TGIF, folks. Here's another episode of Find Your Awesome with Awesomepreneurs. And what we're doing is we're turning it into the go-to podcast for everybody to share their awesome and what they're doing out there in the world, you know, not only for themselves, but for everybody else that they surround themselves with. And we have another special guest today. I'm so lucky to be able to surround myself with incredible people every day doing what I do. So today we've got Mr. Ryan Beliveau on the show. Ryan did his schooling in New York with 2 degrees in marketing and design. He's had an established corporate career in marketing sales, working for 2 Fortune 500 companies, building their marketing and divisional assets. He worked for a Cincinnati-based North American leader, Fortune 500 company in the corporate identity facility services industry. And he grew and built the Metro News here in London for 2 years. That's pretty impressive stuff. He's worked in sports marketing, sales for a division of the Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, owned by the Toronto Maple Leafs, Toronto Raptors, Toronto FC, etc. So he's a pretty exceptional guy we've got here. In parallel to building his businesses and clients' businesses, Ryan's committed to being known as the connector and behind-the-scenes facilitator between businesses and owners. So we're lucky to have Ryan here today. I'm going to bring him on screen and we can all say hi to him. Let's say hi to Mr. Ryan Beliveau. How you doing, big guy?
Kyle, what's up, my man?
Thanks so much for being here, Ryan. You know, it's people like you that make it special with the group that we're building and the people we're involved with. And we want to have an important chat today. And the chat we're going to have today is such an important aspect of small business in the business world. What exactly is digital marketing? And what does it mean, you know, when you say creating a baseline or a foundation?
Yeah, well, first off, Kyle, thanks for that introduction. That was really nice. Man, I've actually kind of forgot about a lot of those things. Metro News. I don't even know if people remember. You know, about 5 years back, Metro News.
I remember.
Free daily newspaper. That was a great experience. That was awesome. And I got to give a shout out to yourself and Kevin Ballmer, who, you guys, you're doing such a good job with this, and you're creating such an awesome community with what you guys are doing. And I know it's uncharted territory for you, but man, you know, you've stepped up and good for you. Like, you guys are really, really building something special, and I'm really proud and honored to be on here. So,
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot coming from somebody like yourself, you know, so involved in the business world here in London. Mm-hmm. And I know you're an absolute expert at this digital marketing stuff. And so many business owners are lost when it comes to this because they just don't understand it. So what does it mean for digital marketing and creating the baseline and foundation?
Yeah. So, you know, it can be a really intimidating space. I mean, it's intimidating for me, and I'm in it every day. And, you know, I spend half my day with my team learning new things, the algorithms, and, you know, everyone's trying to figure out this digital space. And what I don't want to happen is that it becomes so intimidating for small business owners, especially here in London, that you just like, oh, I'm not going to do it because I just don't really know much. And so what I want to do, and what I think we want to achieve here today, is just give that those basics. So if you're someone that really knows social media, or you have like a social media team, you're watching this might not be for you, because this is more the basic entry level. You know, we're not looking to make you insta famous. What we're looking to do here is get you engaged with social media and digital marketing as tools for your business, and being able to just leverage them, you know, and use them. And you say, you know, what is digital marketing? You know, and what do you mean by that? I mean, digital marketing could be everything from blogging to email marketing to social media to creating e-learning platforms. And I think there's so much opportunity for every single business owner, no matter what your business is, to be able to dive into the digital world and figure out your community and figure out your space, and you know, build your platform and create customers and create an audience. You know, I think that, you know, just by simply having social media platforms like a Facebook or an Instagram, you're in the game. So you're halfway there. I get it. If you have a Facebook page, you don't really know how to use it or what to do. There's an entire I know you and I science behind social media, but that's down the line, and what we want to do here is just create some knowledge and baseline foundation.
I think the whole problem is, Ryan, is so many people are so wrapped up in how many likes they get and how many followers they get.
Yeah.
And it becomes intimidating if they don't get enough likes. And I think that's where a lot of the head games come in, where it scares the business owners and entrepreneurs away from really diving into the social media aspect of things.
Yeah.
How do people know what to post on social media, and how do they know where to even start?
Yeah, so I'm so glad you brought that up. So what you're referring to, the likes and that sort of thing, they're what we call vanity metrics. And what I want to achieve with your group and the small business community, especially in London, is don't worry about the likes. Just leave it alone. You could have a post that gets 2 likes and have an engagement of 2,000 people. So what I really want people to focus on is that engagement. And if you own your page, you'll see it. You'll see what the engagement is. I know, most people know what I'm talking about right now, and focus on that, because the chances are that people are going to like everything you post are very, very minimal. But if you're getting engagement and you're getting people seeing your brand and seeing the post, that's what matters. And that's what's going to count. So these vanity metrics, and this is something I really talk to my clients and talk to our clients about, is don't worry so much about that. Let's do a deep dive and figure out, what the engagement is in the posts. And, to answer your question too, how do you know what to post? Well, part of what needs to happen is creating a plan. So what I want people to get away from is that kind of knee-jerk posting every day. You wake up, you're like, oh man, I gotta post something. What am I gonna post? And you spend half your morning, stressing out about it. It's really, really important. I can't stress this enough, to sit down. Maybe it's with your marketing person or with, your business partner or yourself. Create an Excel sheet for the month ahead and create a plan and a content structure. And what you're going to find is you're going to have a lot of low-hanging fruit things, like posts that are happening. So you might have in a month Father's Day. You might have all these certain things that right away you're like, I know I'm posting this day for Father's Day. I know I'm posting for this day because this is a special day. This is, I own an ice cream shop, and, next Monday is National Ice Cream Eating Day or something. So, you can build, you'd be surprised how many interesting like national holiday days there are. It's actually really quite cool. So what I really encourage people to do is, build that plan a month in advance. So you have your baseline posts ready to go. You're ready to go, and you can pre-schedule these in Facebook, Instagram, and it's a great tool to be able to just pre-schedule, leave it. And then what's going to happen is you get what we call these audibles that will come up throughout the month that you just can't plan for. So, for instance, the Black Lives Matter that has just happened. I mean, that came up, and instantaneously, as marketers, we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we engage in this? How do we support this from our clients, a brand level, and that's what I mean by an audible, where things will just come up, and you're good, because if you've planned ahead, a month ahead, you've got a baseline of your posts. You can build on that baseline with all these audibles that might come up, and really focus on what's going on with that audible, if that makes sense.
I want to touch base, Rye, about this Black Lives Matters, and I'm gonna kind of step out of my comfort zone here, and I'm gonna be really honest about this. I shied away from posting about that stuff because myself as a person, I didn't feel I had the right to speak or talk up about it because I've never been through it. I've never been an African American guy that's had a problem with a police officer. When I get pulled over, I'm not scared that I'm going to get shot. So I've really shied away from posting about that kind of stuff. I mean, I've made it very clear that there's no room at all in Awesomepreneurs for any type of discrimination of any sort. And I kind of left it at that. What's your advice to people about posting about the Black Lives Matters and all this stuff going on?
Yeah, I don't know if I have a clear answer to that. I think it really comes down to the client and their comfort level. And, I'm not saying that you have to engage in everything that happens, because it just may not be comfortable for you as a business owner. But if,
Yeah,
and it's fine, because no one's going to be going there saying, Kyle Blythe, they're not posting, how dare they, or whatever, right?
right.
And that's part of the challenge with social media, is that you put yourself out there, and you just have to be prepared to engage and answer questions and connect and with your audience and that sort of thing. So I mean, if I would suggest, if you ever have hesitation, or you're just not sure, I mean, reach out to marketing professionals like myself, because you know there are pros and cons to really engaging with these things quickly, and we saw that we see that with the Black Lives Matters, that what the negative was, that everyone is posting a black screen. And in Instagram, what happened is that the hashtag Black Lives Matter got it became this feed of a black screen. And and a lot of people were using that hashtag to communicate information with each other, and what was going on and what was happening in different cities, and all you would see is a black screen. So we found really quickly, guys, you got to stop posting the black screen, because it's interrupting this important information that need to get out with what's happening. So sometimes you just don't know. But yeah, to answer your question, I mean, I would just, if you're not comfortable, because there's a risk that you might say something that
That's what I
you
was
may
going to
not
bring up,
mean.
right?
Yeah,
People are so
yeah,
sensitive nowadays,
yeah,
and you never know what you say, if it's going to offend somebody or if it's not going to offend somebody. So again, I think
yeah,
that's great advice. If you don't feel comfortable, then just don't do it. I think that's
absolutely.
great
Yeah,
advice.
yeah,
So I know a lot of our business owners and stuff in the community, they've built an audience of some sort, but what happens is then their pages just sit idle. They don't post, or they forget to post, or they're not sure what to post, and their pages sit there idle. What advice would you have for them if their page is sitting there idle right now?
yeah. So that's a really good point as well, and we do run into this a lot, especially with new clients, where we're bringing them on board. We're seeing a lot of momentum, a lot of excitement with new followers and engagement. And then, you get to, like, I don't know, 400 or 500 followers, and then it stops, right?
Yeah,
And so my biggest thing and my biggest advice, and I don't know if it's exactly what people want to hear, but it Facebook and Instagram and social media, it's a pay to play platform. You have to realize that your organic posting and your organic content will only get you so far. At some point, you're gonna have to budget to boost and I'm not saying big budgets. Like, I'm telling you, man, like, you can get, for $20 or $40 or whatever, you can get a couple thousand people engaging with that post locally. And what's really, really cool about, if you're looking at boosting and you're spending, I don't know, $50 a month on boosting or whatever, is that you can really, really specifically target an audience or demographic, or an area even. We have a client in London that they wanted to really attract and bring people from Strathroy to their business, and we targeted Strathroy, and we saw a huge engagement with just targeting that specific area. And then you can also target certain age groups and this sort of thing. So I really, organic posting from a baseline level, definitely important, but at some point you have to invest a little bit to just in the pay to play method. You got to realize Facebook, Instagram, these companies, they're businesses. They have people that
yeah.
work for them. They're in it to make money. Um, they have these tools set up ready to help you and your business that, I would definitely set up an ad account. You can go into settings, you can set up an ad account. You can do, I'm getting a little bit deeper diving here, but you can do what they call lookalike ads. So essentially what you can do is you can go in and say you have 500 people of an audience that's following you. You can actually set up lookalike ads where Facebook is going to give you, kind of the qualities of those 500 people, and they're going to present to you the perfect client or the perfect customer that potentially high rate will engage with you, and
Wow.
you can just target these. Yeah, see, like this is a
That's
science that
wicked to know. See, I didn't know
it's
any of
amazing.
that stuff.
Yeah, it's incredible, and yeah, it's just and it's really, I know it sounds intimidating, but once you do it once or twice, it's going to be so easy to do because they want to make it easy for business owners to use these tools and engage, right? So give it a like, try it, just try it,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what else I've noticed too, Ryan? I think this is an important point to bring up. A lot of business owners, they'll get comments and stuff on their posts, but they won't engage with those. They won't
Yeah.
respond and they won't answer the questions, and then people just get disinterested. How important is it for people to engage with those comments that they're getting on their posts? Does that make a big difference?
Yeah, I mean it does, and in a perfect world, you want to respond to every single question and comment and that sort of thing. And that's the work, and that's the hard work that's involved, and that's probably going to be your biggest challenge, especially as a small business owner, where you're trying to post stuff and you're trying to help customers, you're trying to do send emails, you're trying to do all this stuff. So, I mean, definitely, if you can, if you can respond and engage in comments, absolutely. There are tools, however, that you can set up automatic responses. And so if there is like a question or a comment that comes through, there's an FAQ tool that you can use that, if there's certain questions, then it'll just automatically generate a response. The other one that I would suggest is just create a generic response. Hey, thanks for your message. Really appreciate it. We're really busy right now, but we will get back to you, as soon as we can, as soon as we're, not busy helping other
Great.
customers, whatever. And that's probably your best management strategy as a small business owner, to be able and then get back to those people, right? Because you're going to have positive comments, you're going to have negative comments too.
Oh, for sure. But I think like a company like yours, you guys would manage somebody's social media account, would you not?
Yeah, so we do have dedicated people that will respond. One thing that we do with our clients is we go through an FAQ right off the bat. What are some questions that you typically see from customers that we might run into? What are some issues? And then we have an entire database and list. And I mean, it's not a perfect science because those questions will change. And sure enough, as soon as we finish an FAQ with the customer, a question comes up that they've never seen,
Absolutely.
right? So we work very closely with our customers on that, and and try and manage that as best we can. But we do put up tools in place that make it easy to respond to questions.
That's wicked, man. Now, listen, before
Yeah.
we move on too much further, I want to make sure we add how people can get a hold of you. What's the best way for people to reach out? Is by email?
Yeah, by email. Oh my God,
What
here
about
I
your
am.
website?
Well, my website looks terrible, to be honest with you. It needs a revamp, but it's bellevuemarketing.com. You can find me on there. Yeah, retail. The best way is probably Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. I would welcome. It's quite interesting, actually. Do I have talked to quite a bit of people in business owners, in the entrepreneurs in your group, inadvertently, just through different ways and different projects and that sort of thing. So it's been really awesome working with your group. But yeah, I'm easy to find on Facebook, LinkedIn, belivemarketing.com, Ryan at belivemarketing.com. And I'm always pretty available for sure. I always take a meeting, and I always get, take a call. And if I can, refer or help someone and facilitate, a relationship that where I just may be busy, or my team may not be able to help, and may not be the best one, I can usually find someone, to help that business owner.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you know what? Another thing that comes up, and another thing that people really, really struggle with, Brian, is their website.
Mm-hmm.
How does your website relate to all the stuff that you're doing on social media and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question, because it's your website really, it's your digital storefront, especially now more than ever, right? And what I would suggest, especially now, is doing a digital audit on yourself. And this is probably the one thing that we can do as business owners, even myself, that can make a serious impact. Because, and what I mean by that is simply maybe Googling your business, Googling your name, seeing what's out there. You may find things that are out there about your business or about your name, or whatever it is, that is positive, negative, or it could be content that you can reuse, or may have been a media thing. Maybe someone said, wrote a comment on, Google, Google Ads, or the Google system, and just all kinds of things that you may be able to uncover. And so I would start there, and do a digital audit on yourself. And then in regards to your website, that your website has to be your pillar. And and from that pillar, all things I think I've got a mug here. It's an octopus, right? I don't even know why. This is just, yeah.
So
So
that
there's your website, here's your social media, there's your, I don't know.
that's a great
Yeah.
visual, man. No, it's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
true.
that's great. Isn't that funny? Yeah, that
I
worked.
don't think people
Yeah.
realize or understand how intertwined your website can be with the social media things that you're doing.
Yeah, it's really important, Kyle, because what you can do, there's if you're on WordPress or whatever platform your website's on, there's usually a way to integrate your social media onto your website, and I would suggest doing that pretty quickly, because what that's going to do, that's going to immediately help with your SEO, your search engine optimization, which SEO is it helps you become discoverable. And if you're putting up constant, content with your social media, and it's integrated to your website, it's all integrated, and it's definitely going to help. The other thing too is that by integrating your social media into your website, you're giving people real time content. So if I see a business and I'm visiting their website for the first time, yeah, cool. I get the about us, I get details on the products, that sort of thing. Then I come to the integration of the social media on the website, and I can see what they've been doing lately. And it's cool. It gives you a little screenshot. It'll give you maybe like 6 to 8 different posts that you've done, and I can see like how current these guys are. And this is a really good way to be current on your website.
That's awesome, man. I
Yeah,
love this
yeah,
stuff. This is such
yeah.
important information for
It's good
everybody. I
stuff,
hope.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Now, listen, if you had a couple pointers or practices that we could all be taking part in right now, what
Mm-hmm.
would you suggest we do? What's a couple of the most important things?
So, like I said, I would definitely do a digital audit on your business. I'm sure if people are watching this right now, they're probably Googling their business, going, shit, what's out there that I don't know, right? But I would do that. Build your database. I think one thing that and I'm guilty of this definitely, is not taking the time to build your email database. And, it really, it's an intentional practice that you just need to work at. And there's some things that you can do, that we call it transfer of audience. So say you have 2,000 followers on Facebook and you don't have an email database, set up a MailChimp, set up a constant contact, try and transfer that audience and get that transfer of audience over into your email database. The other thing with that transfer of audience is try and transfer that audience on all your platforms. So say you have LinkedIn, say you have Facebook, say you have Instagram. Try to talk about the different and get those audience members following you on all different platforms,
Yeah,
because
great
chance
point.
yeah, chances are your audience on LinkedIn is different than your audience on Instagram, and it's different than your audience on Facebook. And the one of the pointers I would say is that, don't just blanket post everything. Make sure you do a few different posts related to what that audience might engage with on the different platforms. So that's where I would definitely start, is start building an audience now, especially now, right? With COVID
Oh,
and everything, people. I mean, we're finding. I got to tell you, man, the open rates that we're seeing in our email campaigns for clients have gone through the roof, and it's quite fascinating as well. The times, like, we can track the time that someone opens an email, how frequently they open the email. So the percentage of open rate has gone up, and the timing that people open their emails is a lot later than it typically has been
I
as well.
wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
That's an important point, Ryan.
Yeah.
So I think I've heard in the past that there's certain times where people are more up to engage with you. What times would those be? Like, if somebody was going to do a post, what time's the best? What's the time to post during the day?
Yeah. Now it's that's going to depend on your business, on your audience. It's going to depend on your location too, because
Really?
if you're in, like, so consider this: you're in a city like New York, or like a city where, and maybe not so much now, but a city where there it's a high commute city where people are on subways, buses, that sort of thing. You want to reach those people when they're sitting on a subway or sitting on a bus, and you want to connect with them, and that's typically like, between 5 and 7, or that's kind of a key time for a high commuting time. The other thing is going late at night, and one thing that we like to do, we like to stagger. So we'll do like a post on Facebook for a client in the morning, and then Instagram is going to be at the complete opposite spectrum of the day, where it's almost like a 10 p.m. at night post, and we're finding the same amount of engage. Again, these are two different audiences, right? So Instagram is a different audience than what your Facebook crowd will be. So it's really, really important. And I would suggest to business owners, try different times and
Yeah.
see what's going to work for you. We have optimal times as marketers. Like, we have kind of a database that has kind of gone out the window, to be quite honest with you,
Just because of the
with
times we're
COVID.
in, right? With COVID and
Yeah,
everybody being home, and
yeah,
life changed
yeah.
drastically.
Yeah, so people are at home. They're spending time with their families. They're working from home. They're doing homeschooling, and all these things, are not so much anymore. But yeah, so you want to reach them. When they're yeah when they're gonna have
Going to
have
be
the
most
attention, right?
engaged and going to
Yeah,
be at home. And another thing I think a good point is to remember is there's always a time change, on different sides of the country.
good point,
Just
Kyle.
because it's 5 o'clock here doesn't mean it's 5 o'clock in BC or whatever. So
Yeah.
I think just
Hmm.
playing around with the times is important, and just try different times of the day and different days. So
Yeah, really good point.
great
Yeah.
points, man. Now listen,
Hmm.
there's always new trends and things happening within the social media world. There's new apps coming out. The big one now is TikTok. What things do you see coming up, and what should people be concentrating on more so than others? Is there any tips you have for that?
Yeah, there's some trends that we're seeing as marketers right now that are actually really exciting. One thing that recently just got introduced and launched is the Facebook and Instagram shops. I was on a forum where Mark Zuckerberg, I think it was about 3 weeks ago, he announced that Facebook's actually going to be introducing a shop platform. So if you have a business where you sell tangible items, you're going to be able to actually put your items up on Facebook and sell them through Facebook. So that is a game changer, because you can literally now use Facebook as your virtual store. Now it's fairly new, so there's some things that they're still trying to figure out. Is it PayPal? Like, what's the connection? There's like a customer service thing that Facebook's got to manage, and there's all these things that are happening. But the fact that they've introduced this is a game changer, and as marketers, we're keeping a close eye on how we're going to be able to utilize this. The one thing that they're not going to be able to offer business owners is if you're selling like um, an e-class or an e-learning or something like that. So it's got to be like for now anyway, it's got to be a
Like
tangible
sweaters
item.
and hats and shirts and
Yep.
mugs and stuff like that, right? A lot of
Yeah.
swag.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff. So that's really awesome. So I would keep an eye out on that. I try and post things on our Facebook as much as I can if things come up, but things move so quickly on this. The other thing, and what you're going to hear a lot about, and mark my words, is this whole influencer marketing, and not so much influencer marketing like I'm gonna try and pay Kim Kardashian $10,000 to mention my brand to her 5 billion followers or whatever.
Yeah.
It's more of a localized influencer game is what's going to happen. So I think my biggest takeaway from this, and my biggest suggestion right now as small business owners, understand your audience, understand your customers, find out who those influencers might be that want to talk about your brand. Because what's happening is that influencers and people that are active on social media are a lot more active now. And you have these influencers. So in London, you may have a local photographer that it's a stay-at-home parent, and they've got 40,000 followers on their Instagram account. They have no idea that they're an influencer, but if I'm a photography business, I'm probably going to engage that person and say, here's a free camera or something. Use
Yeah.
it for all your photos. Talk about my camera, talk about my business. And that's the connection that's going to start happening because it's cost of goods for the business. It's not going to cost you a lot of money unless the influencer is asking for that. But these local influencers aren't going to. They're just not going to know how to monetize that. But they'll gladly take a free item and promote your business. So I would really, really, really think about that as a business owner and how to engage influencers. And mind you, an influencer doesn't have to be like they have 100,000 followers on their Instagram. An influencer could be like a CEO of a company or something that influences 5,000 people. Maybe they have 50 followers or whatever. So understand who your customers are. What their local influence might be, because it's not going to help you going to a big influencer in Toronto and they're promoting your business in Toronto when you're a London-based company. So, we have a lot of influencers right here in London, Ontario with that have a following, that are active on social media. All you got to do is just go on Instagram, hashtag LDNONT, and you'll find influencers and try and engage them and see if it fits with your business. So does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It does. It makes
Okay.
sense 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's a question for you. It's kind of let's have some fun with this one. What's
Yeah.
your thought on TikTok, buddy? so,
Oh God.
I
TikTok.
follow Gary Vanderchuk.
Yeah.
You know who Gary V
Yeah.
is.
Oh, absolutely.
He's mind blowing. He's got millions of followers. He is so behind TikTok right now
Yeah, he
and
is.
believes in it so deeply, but it's one of the most impossible social media platforms to get a handle on the algorithm and understand what to post.
Yeah.
What's your thought on it?
I'm TikTok is something that comes up in our conversations almost daily as marketers because we're really still trying to figure this out, and it is important. It's an important conversation that we can't dismiss. We can't dismiss TikTok and these platforms that that our younger generation is engaging with, because they're our future customers and like influencers, and we have to understand what they're doing. I'll give you an example. My son plays Fortnite, and I haven't really understood it until I've just started to really become a little bit fascinated with it from a marketing and social point of view. And what's happening? So I think they got like, I don't know, 7 million or 12 million people on, probably more, playing Fortnite, playing this game.
Wow.
And what's happening is that you have these entertainer, like these singers, coming on here and doing these virtual concerts and releasing their songs because they know this is where the young generation is. This Eric Scott, he's like a rapper. He did this virtual, so you can go on as a gamer and be your virtual self in the game, and you're not playing the game. You're like hanging out watching this virtual concert. I think Eric Scott
Wow.
had 12 million or 7 million people watch this virtual concert. He released a new song. I think Miley Cyrus is coming on to do something pretty soon. So we can't dismiss what the younger generation is engaging with just as child's play, games, whatever, because they're so savvy, man. And when you talk about TikTok, actually, someone that you might know, Eric Gagne, he's
Yeah,
from
yeah.
our insurance
Our
guy.
insurance guy.
Yeah, he's done a fabulous job of engaging with TikTok, and I really love what he's doing because he's got a really great business brand, but he's really developing his personal brand too. And
Yeah.
it's as a family man and humor, and it's so engaging to watch. And he's been doing a lot of content on TikTok, and he's getting huge engagement.
That's
So
awesome.
here's a guy, he's a grown man using TikTok. Half the people may not know he's an insurance agent, but I'm sure eventually they're going to find out and be like, who is this guy? I'm not sure really, a clear answer right now. Like I wouldn't fully suggest to business owners to engage in that just yet because if you're going to really devote your time and efforts, I would stick with Facebook and Instagram because they have substantial tools you can use as a business. Right now is TikTok, they're not necessarily tools. It's just like you could do a video talking about your business, or you could have your kids do a video talking about your business or whatever, and that's about it. You can't target, but again, things change
I'm
every
sure that's
day.
coming in the future.
It is. It's coming. It's coming down the pipeline for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Well, dude, listen, I know you're
Yeah.
extremely busy. I was lucky to get you on here today. I can't thank you enough for coming on board with us and having a chat with us today. It's such valuable information. This is one of the most important podcasts out there right now because social media is so huge for people's businesses. So I want to thank you very much, buddy, and stay in touch. If there's anything we can do, let me know. And if you want to engage with a bunch of our members through Awesomepreneurs, we would absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And have a good weekend, man.
Yeah. Thanks, Kyle. I really appreciate you having me on. It's been really a lot of fun. And if your community audience, they want to reach out, no strings attached, man. Just, if you have questions, let me know. I'm happy to help. I really am. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Thanks, man. And we'll chat
Thank you.
soon.
Okay. Sounds good. See ya.